Bruce Goldstein, Film Forum's Director of Repertory Programming. Our guest is the writer and historian Matthew Sturgis, author of this exhaustive and entertaining new biography, Oscar Wilde, A Life, published by Knopf and on sale today at our box office. Today's film, SALOMÉ, boasts a highly stylized production design inspired by the Art Nouveau illustrations of Aubrey Beardsley, subject of another acclaimed biography by our guest. And here he is, direct from his home in London, Matthew Sturgis.
Thank you, Film Forum, very much for having me. Oscar Wilde was enormously proud of Salomé. He had, of course, a rare gift for writing amusing society comedies, but he almost thought that they came too easily to him. Salomé was something different, a symbolist drama derived from a biblical tale written in deliberately mannered and incantatory French. It aligned him with the most exciting forces of the European avant-garde, with the experiments of the young French poets who gathered around Stéphane Mallarmé in Paris, and with the innovative Belgian dramatist Maurice Maeterlinck. He felt that it could and should enlarge the artistic horizons of the stage. It was composed shortly after he had completed his first comedy, Lady Windermere's Fan. Oscar had been asked by a publisher to write a brief introduction to an English edition of one of Maeterlinck's plays, but instead, after a very good lunch in a Paris restaurant, he sat down and wrote a play of his own, in the oblique, bejeweled manner of the Belgian symbolist. The story was a daring subversion of the familiar biblical tale, where the beautiful Salomé dances for her infatuated stepfather, King Herod, and then asks, as payment, for the head of his prisoner, John the Baptist. In Wilde's version, she is motivated by frustrated sexual desire. The Baptist had repelled her advances. She wants his head so that she can kiss it upon the lips. For an exciting moment after the play was written, there were plans for Sarah Bernhardt, the divine Sarah, undoubtedly the greatest actress of the age, in Wilde's estimation, to mount a London production of the play and to take on the title role herself. Wilde and Bernhardt were full of ideas, egging each other on to greater heights of theatrical invention. Wilde explained that the moon played the principal role in the piece. Bernhardt suggested that the staging must be heraldique, with the stateliness of a fresco. Her dialogue, she decided, should be spoken so that each word fell like a pearl upon a disc of crystal. They debated endlessly about the colour schemes. Wilde wondered whether everyone on the stage should be dressed in yellow, or perhaps only the Jews should be in yellow, John the Baptist in white, Herod and his consort Herodias in blood red, and Salomé herself in silver, like the moon, or black, or, as a final variation, in green, like a curious poisonous lizard. He also had extravagant plans for placing braziers of perfume in the orchestra so that scented clouds might drift upwards, partly veiling the stage from time to time and providing a new perfume for each new emotion and mood. It was with much regret that he had to give up the scheme when it was pointed out that it would be impossible to air the theatre between each emotion and that the mixed perfumes would smell perfectly beastly. But then, in the midst of these exciting preparations, the official censor, the Lord Chamberlain, who right up into the 1960s used to scrutinise all play scripts before they were put onto the London stage, intervened to ban the production, citing an old law that forbade the representation of biblical characters in the British theatre. Wilde was devastated. He even threatened to emigrate to France, where he claimed that art and artists were better understood, although in the event he took the lesser course of going on holiday to a German health resort. But his mind never ceased to play upon how his drama might be performed, and he continued to cherish hopes for a production. He was excited when the brilliant young artist Aubrey Beardsley agreed to illustrate the English translation of the playtext. But although Wilde recognised the extraordinary power and genius of Beardsley's pictures, he felt that they were not quite satisfactory. As he confided to a friend, "They are too Japanese, while my play is Byzantine." While Wilde was in prison serving his 2-year sentence for homosexual acts, one of the few things that cheered him was news that Salomé had finally been premiered in Paris by an experimental theatre company and had been received with enthusiasm by the French avant-garde. It would be the first of many European productions. Indeed, the rescuing of Oscar Wilde's estate from bankruptcy in the years immediately after his death was achieved largely from royalties paid by experimental German theatre companies putting on Salomé. It was after seeing one such production that Richard Strauss composed his opera of Salomé. And it is from this rich tradition that Bryant and Nazimova's extraordinary film springs, with its stylizations and hypnotic rhythms. Though shot in black and white and drawing heavily on Beardsley's imagery, the film adds so many other visual and emotional elements as to achieve an effect that is, as Oscar would have recognized, positively and deliciously Byzantine. Wilde once told a fellow writer, "All works of art are poems or pictures, and the best are both at once." This film version of Salomé certainly achieves that distinction. It is both a moving poem and a moving picture. Enjoy the film.